Hello, everybody, and welcome back. All right, so when you guys get back on that ship, just kind of diving right into it. When you guys get back on that ship, it is a pretty easy trek. You've already seen a map. You already know that where you dropped onto the ship was over near the bridge, and over near the bridge is not very far from the actual airlock that you would use to when you would dock at a port here or there or whatever. And the way that this Alliance military vessel and the Alliance science vessel had actually docked to one another, once again, was through their actual airlocks, a bridge that they can do. Alliance vessels are designed to do this for one another through the actual airlock area, as opposed to the way that Winnie's old vessel did was over on the science one, had bored a hole into the top of it and put a sky bridge between it. And as you guys did that same exact thing to the Alliance military vessel. So you guys, these two are actually linked right here with the other two technically on top of them, okay? Or flipped around, sideways, doesn't really matter. So here you guys are now there, and it's very easily make your way over to the sky bridge itself. Now, the airlock itself on this side, same as everything else. You're on the military vessel. It is locked. It's designed to be super protected and da 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 da. So it's designed to, like, when everything that has its security measures, to have it super locked down. But beyond that, this actually has its own power source. Because if this was to be set into an emergency mode and you guys were like on the ground or anything like that, it would stop people from easily being able to break into the ship. It's just extra security measures. That, and you're actually dealing with 3 sets of doors. 1 set of door on the inner part of the airlock and 2 sets of doors on the outer part of the airlock. So it's a much more difficult for you to get through.
It just makes sense for a spaceship to have doors that break close. Mm-hmm. It's always the thing in like sci-fi where, like, you shoot the panel and the door opens. It's like, no, usually the ship would be designed to do the opposite.
Exact opposite, yes. Exactly.
And it's not safe, yeah.
So so when you guys come across this, obviously, like, the Krogan ripping it open is going to be a bit more difficult. These doors are going to be heavier. They're going to be better protected. This is literally the only technical opening out into space. You know, unless there's like where the shuttle would go out. So you guys have to try to hack these things open and get to it. So that being said, same thing as before, Clark is going to pull out his line shunt and go over and hand one to Antuary, and the other one, like, put it against the wall so she could start doing this. And so Antuary is going to be able to start looking at that. However, immediately as you start doing that, Winnie, you see what they're doing, and they have their little cute line shunts, and they're trying to look around and do the things that they're doing. Mind you, you have an Omni tool that can already see everything inside that wall without having to use these cute little line shunts. Though it does give you a nice direct access from, like, a good distance or whatever, you know. But you know, it's cute. They're making do.
Yeah, adorable.
So, do you say anything or do you just watch?
No, because I still think my Omni tool is highly illegal, probably.
Yeah, it's like, you're already a pirate, and it would just be like, hey, illegal, beep.
You know, we're not gonna do that yet, so no.
So you guys are you're watching as Ollie is going to make his electronics roll.
Oh, was that a not so subtle hint earlier that I didn't notice?
Ollie, you get a -2 from the sheer difficulty of.
I fail.
We're gonna vent it into space.
I succeed!
Oh,
You rolled a critical success, Ollie!
Woo!
Double sixes!
Boom!
I think it's funny, it's right here. It's like, nom, nom, nom. Alright, so, so anyways, you get double sixes, critical success. So it's one of those things where you're looking, you're like, oh, how cute, they're making do. And literally within, like, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, one of the best hacks you've ever seen. You literally see, the door opens up, absolutely no problem whatsoever. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go so far as to say, Ollie, that your hack was so beautiful that if you leave this line shunt here and you don't remove it, that you'll actually be able to open and close the door with ease from your Omni tool, because how line shunts work.
Oh, absolutely.
No problem.
Tell Clark we're doing that.
So go ahead. You say, Clark, like, we're leaving this here?
Yeah. It doesn't need to be talked. It's like, bam, boom.
He's like, he's like, and you can control it. You know, he's like surprised by that, and he's like, Okay, but I
I
don't
can control it
have.
remotely.
I don't have any more line shunts. I have the one that's on your.
Are
on
they
the
single
tool.
use?
No, but if you're leaving it here, I can't take it
Oh,
away.
you only had the one? I thought
Only-
you had like two.
I had the one that you connected to your Omnitool, and then I had that one. Does anybody else have any line shunts?
Cattle, do you have any ways to integrate with technology?
I have my ways. Some of them more interesting than others.
Listen to that. He has interesting ways.
Doesn't
The goddess will grant us a path. The goddess allowed me to open this. She enlightened the way. It'll be easy.
Doesn't Cattle actually have line shunts? I thought he purchased those before. No,
No.
he didn't. Nope. Okay.
Nope, I did not.
I thought somebody did. And so it was kind of one of those things where they're like, oh, okay, let's figure out how we can do this. And then he looks to the other crew members like, do any of you guys have line shunts? And one of them's like, we might somewhere on this vessel. And he's like, let's go. Everybody here, stay here. And he points to like the three that came along from the other vessel. He's like, could you go and see if you can search around and find if there are any line shunts around that we can use? And the one that's like, that doesn't like you guys and clearly just in the worst condition ever. Everybody's like, I know where some are, but I don't want to take my eyes off of them. Don't worry, I'll be able to watch them. I have for the past several days, and I can do so for the next several minutes. And he's like, grump, grump, grump. And he actually turns and he goes not very far away over to the room where you guys handle all the electronics, the communications, and goes into that area, and he's able to find two more sets of line shunts that are in there that they would be able to use to hit some electronics from behind the walls in case there's any quick repairs that need to be done. And he comes back over. And he gives them to Clark, who then Clark has to reprogram them slightly to connect to the line shunt that you have into your Omnitool. And so once he like lines up the frequency, he gives them to you, and you can go to the next door. And so go ahead. Same thing, -2.
Oh, I was kind of hoping that crit opened all three of the doors. But... that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like we're still having the qualified person doing it. She's like, nah, we're good.
I've
so
been
neat to
doing
open
it all
doors.
this time.
And
Yeah.
so you go over to the next one and you start and it's one of those things where because you failed as bad as you did, that you actually see that the door itself knows that so that whatever computer's inside the door knows it's being hacked, and it powers up a shield in front of it. So it actually has a Mass Effect shield in front of it. Now, upside and downside to this. Downside is there's a Mass Effect shield in front of you. That sucks. That stops you from even being able to access your shunt anymore.
Manually.
Behind it.
Yeah.
The upside is that shield is taking a lot of power. That power is coming from
And
somewhere.
there's no power supply anymore.
Yeah. So that's kind of like on its own little timer now. So you can literally sit there and cross your arms and wait or do whatever you have to do. But that.
Yeah, no.
So I'll probably
She
interject
does.
and be like, so let me fix this.
It'll
If he
run
needs help.
itself down in no time.
Can you do that? Says Clark.
Well, yeah. And so I will. I'll use my little Omni tool.
And so you just kind of bust out your Omni tool. There's already
Yeah.
a shunt sitting there, so you can totally pretend like you're just able to access it anyways.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay. So you're like, yeah, I can, yeah, and then start trying to access it.
Uh-huh.
So you kind of go over to the thing and you start doing that, and roll for me your check. Now,
Electronics?
an electronics roll. Once again, you can be rolling with a -2. It's electronics intelligence.
Yeah, but she's like actually good at it.
Yes, but there's also shields in the way now.
Ah,
-2.
whether it were.
Nope.
Okay, so with this roll, a total of a 7. You're looking at it and you're trying to hack into it and whatnot. You can actually find where everything is and whatnot inside there, the programming, the wires, all that stuff. However, you're not able to quite get the charge off that you need to break things down. I will tell you though that you do glean a little bit of information. If you were to sit there for 1 hour doing nothing for 1 hour, the power cell would completely drain because of the shield that's turned on, and that would probably release the magnetic locks to these air things. However, to these seals. However, the release of that lock might mean that he no longer has access to that one back there. It could be upsides and downsides across the board.
So I'll basically just like translate that information down the line.
Andre will just cross her arms, just like, then we wait. And
But
like,
if-
That'll voice up.
stands.
We have time.
But if we wait,
I-
then we might not be able to seal these doors if we need to.
Can I
Just-
keep working on it, Scott?
You can.
Okay, I'll.
Oh, I
keep
was gonna
working on
say,
it.
Cracks can probably get that shield down eventually.
Ah.
Exactly.
So
It's
Aaron,
just going to hit it until
Yeah.
the power went
Reroll.
out.
Keep rolling.
Mhm.
Reroll.
Aaron, do you
Okay.
have electronics at 3d6 to drop the lowest die?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Do you have electronics at 3d6 drop the lowest die? I feel like you do.
Which is called what?
I-
Game?
Tinker. Gain electronics as a bonus
Yeah.
skill. Maintenance score is
Actually-
doubled. Nope, not that one.
My electronic score was bugged, and it was at like -2 when I opened up the character sheet. So I don't know what it's supposed to be. I put it at 1 because I feel like that's right. 'Cause
1
I
is the
put-
max right now, so yeah, it would be
Yeah.
1.
I
Yeah,
I know
you
I
have
maxed
one.
it out. So
Gotcha. No, you're not dropped the lowest one on that one. You dropped the lowest one on decryption.
I actually don't know. I don't know what other my skills might have been bugged. I feel like the decryption wasn't
They
at
will,
-1.
they bugged out for everyone, annoyingly.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of remember where you put them.
I don't. So
Fill them in then.
Okay.
So
we,
-2?
we can
I-
fix it after the session. We'll go back and
Yeah.
fix it or whatever. But give me 1 second.
Like- it's like I
Um,
fixed electronics because that was important.
Of course. I just want to check one thing really quickly. You're an infiltrator, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and that is, yeah, specifically decryption. But your decryption would actually be at 0, not at -1.
I thought
just that
so,
you're aware.
but I was quite sure.
Yep. Okay, so you would just more or less re-roll exactly what you did beforehand.
All right.
Ooh, double number
Ooh.
10. So you're sitting there and you're clicking on it. So you're sitting there and you're clicking away at it and whatnot, and eventually you're able to power down the shield and power down the door behind it to open that one, allowing you then to grab the next one. Now, do you want to keep up with the disguise and grab the shunt and move it over to the other near the area where the other one is, or no?
If I'm getting frustrated with it, then no, probably not.
So
I
you just
wouldn't.
hack away at the
Yeah,
next door immediately
stupid.
afterwards. Okay, you're
Yep.
gonna roll this one with only a -1.
Is it like there was like the airlock and then like the main airlock and then like the other ship's airlock? That's kind of what I was imagining, or is
So
this
it's
just a
actually
three
you're
doors?
actually dealing with this ship itself has a double lock onto it, so it's more or less 2 outer doors. And then when you roll that 8 with the next one, is actually just barely not high enough to unlock it, but that's okay. We're just gonna say you fiddle with it a little bit more, like another minute or so, and eventually that one opens too, so we can stop wasting time and roll and die, because you'll succeed. And so the door opens up, and you guys are now looking at the other one. That's funny that Ollie brings that up, because you would imagine that at the other side, there then are 2 more doors with a 3rd door behind it, making effectively 6 doors between the 2 ships, with each ship being able to control 3 of them. However, the other side is wide open.
That's how I like it. Well, Antori would say that it's strange. And then walk forward with her shotgun out.
Sure.
Well,
Antori
if
walks
no one
forward.
else is leading, then she'll lead.
Ontario walks
So
forward,
she knows where she's going.
and as soon as she walks forward, all of a sudden she steps through into the other side, and your foot does not hit the ground. Your foot actually rises up, and you're like, "Oh shit!" And you actually just stepped into 0
The lady
grav.
doesn't
Crack
swear.
was like-
What I would do is grab the top of the door, pull myself back into the gravity and land, and then just turn around and be like, there appears to be no gravity on their ship. Keep it in mind.
So, you guys do have the ability to, of course, have like magnetic boots or whatever it is, so you can just like, and walk along the hull of walk along the bottom of the ship, even though there's 0 gravity. The thing is, like, walking this way, it's not like it's an easy walk. Like, oh, I'm walking like I'm walking normally on gravity. It's like your boot has to click seal, step seal.
We've played Zelda. It's the Iron Boots.
Yeah, there you go, the Iron Boots of Zelda. And not all of you are very well trained in that. Like, how often has Cattle had to walk along a ship with only his magnetically sealed boots? Krax doesn't really affect him at all, because he kind of already goes like, with the way he walks. But everybody else, it's kind of, this is awkward. You guys aren't trained for zero grav fighting. All right, so moving on. You make your way onto the ship and are making your way through it, and you just see the things on the ship that aren't sealed down for one reason or another are in fact floating inside the ship, and you're making your way through it. This vessel is equally ugly, but definitely set up differently from the other Alliance vessel, the military vessel. One, it's a bit older, and two, clearly it is not a military one. The hallways are much more narrow. The way that the computers are set up and where they are, clearly this is not meant to be a military ship. This is not meant to be a combat ship. You can already tell, like, by the way that the thing is designed, there's far less guns on this ship than the other one. Probably just self-defense measures like Guardians on here, but that's it. But once again, you pull up the schematic of where it is that you need to go, and which is going to be down in the engineering area, and to make your way over to the place. The whole while, Krax is holding this like big thing with him. Luckily now, Krax, it's weightless.
I mean, he's still gonna hold it.
But now you can kind of like carry it behind you, like, and it's floating behind you, no problem inside.
Oh wait, no, it's like a swaddled. Yeah, he can, like, he's going to
Tie it to his shell.
yeah, so it's like hanging over his shoulder. He's just gonna like leave it on his arm, push it slightly upward, so it's just like floating above him.
Probably hits the ceiling, like spooks us.
So funny thing again, for most people, I imagine that this is not a very comfortable thing to do, and but Krax has been a scavenger before and has gone into ships with zero gravity before and just hooked things to himself and just walked around and just add more stuff to the chunk that he's.
It's like a little parachute that's behind him that he could just chuck things into.
It's like Space's pocket.
Yep. So and you guys are
It would
making
be
your way
better
through
if
the
he had a
ship.
battery.
Now the whole crew here is dead as well, and immediately come across the first floating body. Asking somebody to like hold it still for a second so you can get a proper scan on it. You can see that it is the same thing. The way that they died seems to be the same.
Just no grav.
No grav. So when you guys get down below and making your way to the ship is designed very differently. When you go in this ship to make your way to the actual engineering room, one of the things you have to pass through is the vents that hold all of the heat and everything inside of the ship, because again the heat is contained in this. Like, you don't have to worry about like passing through here is not a danger because the heat is on the outer walls or whatever. But it's a way that as you're passing through engineering, you're in the chamber that has the heats. You're in the room that has the heat chambers on either side of the room. And this is again, while it's probably a strange arrangement to you, it makes sense for this type of Alliance vessel and their design. The alarming part is that while you guys are down there, one of the things that you notice is that every single solitary person that's inside this room, that's not true. There are no people inside this room. Instead, what you see is floating around is a cloud of ash. This whole room is just filled with a cloud of ash. And so it's one of those like, it doesn't take you long to realize what that is. And just like a quick bioscan, which you can do with your tool, and of course, Rinsen, your suit has built into it, you can see that this ash is all, of course, biological material. It's not like it looks like ash and it's something inorganic. So,
Gotcha.
Human material.
yeah,
Probably from the decaying bodies.
I mean, there
Is that what
are
it's
no
from?
bodies in
Maybe?
here.
Oh.
Then I would Antori would turn to Winnie if she's still kind of leading. I'd be like, can you tell if those heat sinks are still active?
Yeah. Okay. Can I try, Scott?
Yeah, so you kind of like go over and see if things are functioning or whatnot. This is actually going to take a little bit of time of looking. So while you're making me your electronics intelligence check, which you're welcome to do, anybody else is welcome to make one as well if they also want to look into it.
Scott, is this a straight room?
Yes, it's a square room.
Are both doors open on either side?
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Bad DM, bad. So, one of the things that you notice throughout the entire vessel, every door is open everywhere.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
More than just every door is open everywhere. You can, so as you're kind of like going through and checking anything that you can, like no computers are on whatsoever. Every computer is completely dark. Eventually, just kind of like checking things around and looking around and whatnot on your Omni tools. Everybody's just being as observant as possible. every vent in the ship is still open.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is it like abnormally hot by any chance?
It's actually
Is there...
cold.
I mean, we wouldn't feel anything.
Well, I mean, like on the heads-up display, there's probably a temperature gauge or something.
No, it's cold. I understand that you guys are closer to the star than as I described last time than usual. However, you're still in the vacuum of space, not close enough where you have to worry that much about it. So it's actually just cold. It's just very, very cold.
That's a question. Considering we knew there'd be no power, did I have time to recharge the power?
I'm sorry,
the
Frank.
B
But
battery?
you know what? You know what though, Frank? Because the vent is open, there would be radiation concerns. Nothing that
Okay.
you have to worry personally about because your suits are able to
Yeah.
handle this level of radiation.
Andrew Krogan.
But well, that's
Oh, yeah.
if there's no suit.
You know, I'm fine.
But there is radiation in here that your suits can handle.
Because
sorry.
not on Crax's level, but like meta PC level, it's like, ooh, is this like, did somebody open up like everything to the reactor or something?
That's why I wanted to
But-
check if the heat sinks were still active.
So before we get back to what Erin was just rolling for, you were asking a question, Ollie, and I had talked over you.
I took that that B battery back to the ship.
Mhm.
You said before that the ship can basically recharge them. Do I have it?
They can
back
recharge
now?
B
Or is it being
batteries.
too long?
It needs longer. They can
That's
recharge
fine.
B batteries in a day. But
I've got
however, you
no-
do have those two half-charged ones that were ripped off of the shuttle.
Oh, okay, cool. No problems then.
Okay.
I'll
So
just wait for Winnie to do her thing.
Yep. So Winnie's going about and doing that. While she's doing that, I imagine somebody like say Cattle is restless, and is making a perception wisdom check for me. Anybody else want to do that too?
I will too. What I'm doing is sort of crouching, but not like stealthily, like a sort of sprinting set-off pose in the doorway, just while Winnie is sort of watching things.
So, did Kyle break anything?
No.
Oh shit! I don't think I've
feel like-
seen a 1 in all the time we've been playing Stars Without Number.
He did not roll net. He did not roll double ones.
You know,
No, I know. That's why I don't think I've ever seen a 1.
I'm just gonna roll it because I feel left out. It's not actually Crax doing it, so.
And then he gets like a critical success. No, so
Great.
So you guys are walking around, looking around. Sadly, you don't find anything whatsoever with your looking around. However, Rinson there with Winnie, you are looking around, trying to check the electronics and everything. Now there are no computers to assist you, so you're just kind of like doing a schematics scan with your Omni tool, and you do notice that the core itself seems like it still has the ability to draw heat from the turned on engine if it was turned on and everything to it. It still has everything 100% still seems to be intact, except there seems to be a puncture in either one of those two chambers that vented into this room. Like a puncture is specifically there. But it's strange because how the hell was there a puncture that came out here? The puncture doesn't look like it was designed. It happened from something blasting it or stabbing it or hitting it through. It doesn't seem like anything like that happened. It seems like it was melted through. Like some sort of heat caused this to happen. It would take an investigation of the actual hole itself to get more information than that.
Yeah.
So the hallway is safe.
The hallway is safe because the engine's turned off. If the engine was turned on, there would be heat.
Cool.
All right.
If
Well,
the
I
ship
guess-
was traveling, there'd be a fuck ton of heat.